Today in my theater class we talked about culture, which isn't a surprise as it is a course looking at the multicultural perspectives of theater. This got me to think, as it would. I'm going into cultural anthropology, which is social anthropology in the UK, because our assignment is to bring an object that has cultural significance to our family, which shouldn't be difficult and isn't for the student body that isn't white. In fact, our teacher said that her white students usually look at her as if she's asking them to climb a ladder to the moon because as a group we have lost our defining culture. When someone says France, what is brought to mind? Lounging around eating pastries that were probably made like 3 hours before, drinking wine, or even the Eiffel Tower, as controversial as that is. One can visualize the defining culture of Italy or Mexico, India or Japan without much issue, but for white Americans, the defining cultural characteristic seems to be gluttony, laziness, or greed. The way we live is not conducive to developing a culture because we're not united in anything. America is a nation of young invaders, stamping out anything that is different while proclaiming that we're a melting pot of all culture, when in reality we force immigrants to strip themselves of their culture to simply fit in. The cultures we're throwing by the wayside are thousands of years old. They are why the old world developed the way it did, and in the American lust for sameness, we ask nothing but the sacrifice of everything that they once were. I do realize that there are pockets of culture all over America, in Chinatowns or Japantowns, and the reservations, which are horrible, but those pockets aren't sufficient. They're not sufficient to keep developing the culture that we've lost. So, what can I, a middle-class girl, bring to the table that is unique and thoughtful? Well, I'm going into Celtic studies. I'm not Irish, and I realize that most Americans consider them to be the only Celts, but they're not. My father's family came to America from England and Wales, on the Mayflower, actually, and since that time, we, like most American families, have lost touch with our Celtic ancestry. However, I wear a Celtic knot around my neck at all times to remind me of my lost culture and remind myself again of why I want to go back to where my family came from and preserve what is left. Because no matter what America has tried to create, humans need culture. We need the sense that we belong somewhere, and we need to be in a group of like-minded individuals. So I think that each person compensates for the country's general lack of culture and community by creating their own unique being. Tell me what you think about culture and your own opinion in comments or video response. Ciao!